Tommy here, and we are reading Magic Ladder to Success. Lesson 12 Concentration. Honestly, probably, definitely the most underrated habit that you should be, implementing is a concentration exercise. Something like meditation, if you do it, awesome. Or a mirror exercise, Trataka, which is like a candle concentration exercise, or just paying attention to anything and just like if you leave focus, pay attention to it again. Anything. I don't know, $100 bill, a picture of you and your family, a flower, to start with, or a mirror to start with, gaze at yourself. But ultimately, for sure, candle concentration exercise. I love that this is a chapter in here because, of course. So, Magic Ladder to Success, one of Napoleon Hill's books. Obviously, the cat door there. I knew the cat was gonna. I want to leave. Um, but yeah, Magic Ladder to Success, right? And we are reading lesson 12 now. Comment, give me your opinions, and of course, number one thing Napoleon Hill says: make sure to have a pencil and paper. If an idea comes to mind, give it a pause, write it down. You want to either implement ideas that come to you as soon as possible, or you want to do your best to, just notate them so you could do them in the future. Because once you forget them, boom. I was at dance today, and I was telling my partner, she's like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, I was like, "Oh, awesome." And the director was saying, whatever moves we were supposed to do. And I'm like, I just figured it out. Something I got to do with some of my clients. She's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was just doing work for 4 minutes." And genuinely, um, if an idea comes to mind, yeah. So right there, what happened was right after I don't need these anymore. I straight up just notated it in my phone because I said, "Oh, I'll just notate it after, so maybe at least make a voice note." And we ended up dancing again. And I'm like, when she told me to do the voice note, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I almost forgot." And I had to pay attention to that idea again. So when we were on break, I could notate it. And luckily, I was able to put both ideas down. And I just texted myself. That's the main thing that I do. Lesson 12 Concentration. The jack of all trades seldom accomplishes much at any trade. Life is so complex, and there are so many ways of dissipating energy unprofitably that the habit of concentrated effort must be formed and adhered to by all who would succeed. And I'm leaving reading to tell you this because it always comes to mind and I forget. So I'm remembering to set the intention for you in the future, me in the past, for us to connect in this mastermind, for you to grasp great ideas like Napoleon says. The point of this is to create such high thought impulses, such high frequency thought impulses, something like the last chapters, to get you enough like energy, info, thoughts to start taking action on it, right? So we want to generate those epiphanies, and that is our intention. That is why we're reading this whole book. Because if you take in stuff that's high frequency, and it's literally like these are intentions that I told you, and in this book. So that's why I'm reading Napoleon Hill's first book. Power is based upon organized effort or energy. Energy cannot be organized without the habit of concentration of all the faculties on one thing at a time. An ordinary magnifying glass may be used to so focus the rays of the sun that they will burn a hole in a board in a few minutes. These same rays will not even heat the board significantly until they are concentrated on one spot. Think about that. That's exactly true. It's just concentration. The human mind is something like the magnifying glass because it is the medium through which all the faculties of the brain may be brought together and made to function. In coordinated formation, just as the rays of the sun may be focused on one spot with the aid of that glass. It is worth considering that all the outstandingly successful people in all walks of life concentrated the major portion of their thoughts and efforts upon some one definite purpose, objective, or chief aim. Witness the impressive list of people who created and led this country's earlier history, whose success was due to their having acquired and practiced the habit of concentration. Woolworth concentrated upon the single idea of 5 and 10 cent stores and became one of the nation's creative geniuses in the retail field. Henry Ford concentrated all his energies upon the single aim of creating a cheap but practical automobile, and that idea made him one of the most powerful and richest men in history. Marshall Field concentrated his efforts upon building the world's greatest store and was rewarded by tens of millions of dollars, an unthinkable amount at that time. Van Heusen, oh wow, I didn't realize I wore his shirts for a while. Van Heusen concentrated years of effort on the production of a soft collar. There you go. At a time when men thought they would never be free of the stiff collar, and the idea made him wealthy in a comparatively short time, and with a name forever synonymous with the chosen product of his concentration. Wrigley concentrated his efforts upon the production and sale of a humble 5-cent package of chewing gum and was rewarded by millions of dollars and memorable places in history, and a memorable place in history for his perseverance. It's kind of funny. The Wrigley, the gums, I remember they went from I remember them as like 25 cents in the corner. It must have said 5 cents in the corner. And now I'm pretty sure it's like 50 or 99 cents for like that small pack. But either way, that's kind of interesting. Just the marketing of it too. She's always just like, this is cheap, quick gum, you want this. That comes to mind. Edison concentrated his mind upon the production of the talking machine, the electric light, the motion picture, and scores of other useful inventions until they all became realities and assured him a place at the top of the pantheon. Thinking about Edison, I actually just watched a video about different inventions, and like he did that, and also other people did similar things around the world and different types of things. So what I'm going to suggest for you too is sometimes, kind of like I suggested in a previous chapter, to read autobiographies and biographies of people. Look up videos of historical inventions and new inventions on YouTube. Sometimes if you want some like entertaining, it gets the mind moving. You're like, this is already invented, or like, this guy invented this? I thought this person invented this. And it's a really cool thing because you get another perspective on it. And you kind of get this perspective of like, oh, it's just how something's marketed. We were taught in history that it was always this person. But really, it could have been, some other place entirely, or someone was the main mover and it was just a name was put behind it. Like with Edison, we always just think the light bulb with him. But there were all sorts of other aspects. Bessemer concentrated his thoughts upon a better way to produce steel, and the Bessemer process is evidence that his efforts were history-making. George Eastman concentrated his energy upon radically improving the business of photographs, and this one idea made him a multimillionaire. Andrew Carnegie, the child of immigrants, envisioned a great steel industry, concentrated his mind upon that purpose, and made tens of millions of dollars. James J. Hill, while still working as a telegrapher, at $40 a month, I think it's telegrapher. James J. Hill, while still working as a telegrapher at $40 a month. Holy cow! What date are they talking about? This was in 1920 something maybe. $40 a month, less than $1 a day. It makes me think about like inflation and gold and silver. I've seen these charts like from the early 1900s, and then $40 a month. I'm sure it was like enough, but inflation. The Fed accounts for 2 to 3% per year. Woo, been experiencing more than that. Anyway, you can do this. Just really, we need to concentrate on better ideas. Think about them more often. Remind yourself throughout the day to think about something. ideally in gratitude of the idea for a minute and 15 seconds. That's said in the Abraham Hicks and whatnot. A buck 15, right? A minute 15 in like true, appreciation is like exponential bringing of concentration to that moment. But ideally, at least before bed. And when you wake up, you want those to be your first thoughts. So you should put some mantras in your mind right before bed and right after, because then they'll always remind you to, rethink of those ideas. I usually use mantras to remind me of these different, while I'm speaking good mantras that help me throughout the day and that say things that I would like to experience. And, not in like a hokey way, but it's what I do. It's a habit I have. I envision these other things, right? I was speaking with my dad earlier today, and he's like, Tommy, it's the feeling. Remember, it's not just the words. And I'm like, yeah, but it's also the harmony of the words with the feeling. It's not just the feeling, because, we live in this physical environment. We don't necessarily need to use the words, but it's good to use the words and harmonize it with the feeling. James J. Hill, while still working as a telegrapher at $40 a month, concentrated his thought upon the dream of a great transcontinental railway system and kept on thinking about it and acting on his thought as well, until it became a splendid reality and made him one of the wealthy men of his time. And acting on this thought as well. And that's exactly it. You'll stick with me. If you're starting here, read from the beginning and then read to the end. He'll say it's about these thought impulses that'll create such high thoughts that you want to act on it. And you must. He kept on thinking about it and acting on his thought as well until it became a splendid reality and made him one of the wealthy men of his time. Cyrus H.K. Curtis concentrated his efforts upon one idea of producing the best and most popular magazine on earth, and the splendid Saturday Evening Post was but one of the results. Not only did he create a great magazine, his concentration of thought bought him millions as well. Orville Wright concentrated upon one goal, mastering the air with the heavier-than-air machine, and accomplished it against all odds with life-changing results. Marconi concentrated his mind upon one thought, sending wireless messages, and countless lives were improved. Holy cow, my goodness. Long dance practice today. Truly, whatever one can imagine, one can create, providing the mind concentrates upon it with determination and does not stop short of victory. Great and powerful is the human mind when functioning through the aid of concentrated thought. Woodrow Wilson, determined to become president of the United States 25 years before he actually occupied the president's chair in the White House, he kept his mind concentrated upon his one purpose and eventually achieved it. Robert Greene Ingersoll concentrated on the production of a good practical watch that could be sold for $1. His idea plus his concentrated efforts made of him a multimillionaire. My uncle is, he fixes clocks and watches. He's a watchmaster. And, there's this new brand that came in, so inexpensive. It's like Casio back in the day. That was always, a great brand, and you could get it for a good price. And, man, this brand, it's just funny. Like, so they just created another way of doing it. You can always make something for a better price that's just as good. You can make something higher quality. You just concentrate on an idea. And if you do these breathworks that we do in our community, we help people to create more epiphanies in their moments. And like that's all you need. One epiphany a day, just like a realization of, and just change your day or week based on that. It's simple, honestly. Like it blew my mind when we found out how easy it was to do it. Takes some time. Sometimes it takes 11 minutes. Sometimes it takes 30 to 60 minutes. But I recommend everyone do the whole process that we have because it's beneficial for your whole body. E.M. Stadler concentrated. Oh, Statler. I think it's Statler actually, because I was recently near the Statler Hotel in Florida. I believe that's accurate. The last name, the way that I said it. E.M. Statler concentrated on the building of hotels that rendered home-like service and made himself one of the leading hoteliers of the world. Hoteliers, to say nothing of many millions of dollars in wealth. Actually, some of the biggest deals, like international deals, went down in his hotels, from what I've heard. Rockefeller, coincidentally, one of them. And here he goes. Rockefeller concentrated his efforts upon the refining and distribution of oil, and his efforts brought him tens of millions of dollars. Hey, you should check that out, the Rockefeller and the Statler Hotel thing, and look up Statler and the Statler Building. He's a good one to look up. It should give you some good. Russell Conwell concentrated a lifetime of effort on the delivery of his famous lecture, Acres of Diamonds. Whew, that's a good one, actually. And that one lecture brought in more than $6 million at a time, when people were being paid in pennies, and rendered the people of his time a service, the extent of which can never be estimated in mere money. That's a good one to listen to at least once, Acres of Diamonds. And if you haven't listened to it in a while, maybe re-listen to it. It's probably going to give you some nuggets again. Lincoln concentrated his mind upon freedom for mankind, and saw his task through, though the end proved unfortunate to him. Gillette concentrated upon producing a safety razor. The idea made him a multimillionaire and linked his name permanently with all such products. The best a man can get. It's sometimes you just hear something in your head, right? Could you imagine if you were to create a jingle for a product, or have a product that had such a jingle that people just like always repeated it, or like you create such a good product that people just synonymize it with your brand name, like Kleenex. Remember, what's another one? In the UK, they call vacuums Hoovers because of was it Henry Hoover? And in fact, um, the only like he created the vacuum, right? But then the American guy, oh, I got this on a coin actually in my room, um, created it so that it was a smaller capability, so that it was easier to carry, because that one was like pretty big. And that guy, gosh, it's an American name you'd remember. Anyway, Hoover. Henry Hoover, what a good guy. But we got Gillette there. So imagine that if you had like Kleenex, or just some product that your brand is the actual thing. A Polaroid. A Polaroid is almost like an instant photo, right? Now they have that other brand, Instax, I think, but that's not even. I still call those Polaroids sometimes. William Randolph Hearst concentrated on newspapers and became king of his field and lord of his manor. Helen Keller grew up deaf, dumb, and blind, but through concentration she learned to hear and to speak, inspiring the world. So the story might go on in one continuous chain as evidence that concentrated effort is profitable. Find out what you wish to do, adopt a definite chief aim, then concentrate all your energies in support of purpose until it has reached a happy climax. Observe in analyzing the next law on cooperation, the close connection between the principles outlined and those associated with the law of concentration. Wherever a group of people ally themselves in an organized cooperative spirit for the carrying out of some definite purpose, it will be observed that they are employing the law of concentration, and unless you do so, their alliance will be without real power. I'm going to read that one more time. Wherever a group of people ally themselves in an organized cooperative spirit for the carrying out of some definite purpose, it will be observed that they are employing the law of concentration, and unless they do so, their alliance will be without real power. Yeah. Basically, you got to harmonize. Just allow. Relax into it, right? Raindrops as they fall. This little tree. Dancer, it's called Young Forest. It's a little, looks like a feather, light as a feather, but a tree as well. Raindrops, as they fall through the air, each one for itself, helter skelter, represent a very great form of energy. But this energy cannot be called real power until those raindrops are collected in a river behind a dam and made to pour their energy over a wheel in organized fashion, or until they are confined in a boiler and converted into steam. Everywhere, regardless of the form in which it is found, power is developed through concentrated energy. Whatever you are doing as your daily occupation, do it with all your attention, with all your heart and soul, focused on that one definite thing. Concentrate, folks. You've got this. Whatever your definite chief aim, concentrate on it daily. Concentrate on it before bed. Concentrate on it when you wake up. It's like it's your purpose in life. It's what you want to do. You have a dream. Think about that dream. What is it? And just do it until you clarify and you have that eureka moment and you're like, that's it. And then just I'm only gonna do that. I appreciate you so much. Have a great day. Go on to the next chapter. Re-listen to them from the beginning if you haven't yet. And yeah, I just wish you all the best. I hope we connect in this mastermind right here and you're getting some nuggets. And definitely move on to the next ones. Comment down below if you got any good thoughts, any advice that can help the next people. Appreciate you. Peace.